Hello again, it's Lock Noob, and this little Chubb lock is a window lock designed to go into a corner of a window, and this would go in and essentially lock the window from opening or closing. And if you notice the key, you might recognize the locking mechanism. This is a flat key version of the Chubb AVA or AVA. And yeah, this is a tricky little lock to pick. So how did I go about trying to figure out how to pick this? Well, I had a piece of bent wiper blade and I thought, well, some of these abloy versions of the AVA can be front tensioned. So I thought maybe the spinning plate could be tensioned. Turns out, no, this is just a spinning plate. Also, I noticed that this lock had a max lift first wafer, and these aren't discs, they're like a sliding wafer. We'll take a look at them later. I did a whole video on the Chubb AVA system, so you should probably check that out. But I thought if I could turn that max and then do that, then I'd be able to turn the discs as well. I said discs, the wafers or sliders, and that doesn't work either. This is actually turning it too far. It opens at sort of that position, so anything you do with trying to tension it through this front spinner won't work. Then I thought, well, can I use a Chubb AVA decoding pick? And turns out that this is way too thin to allow the tool in. So I made a small tension tool out of wire, and what you can do, I don't know whether you can tell, it's like a weird shape in here, but you can sort of put this, and it's a bit sharp, which helps, in the middle of the first wafer. And you can see here how, see, it's, I'll get the light in a bit more for you. See that little bit sticking up? You can sort of get in there and turn this and lift that to max height and just have enough room to get a pick down either side. It's not easy, and you've got to sort of lift and turn at the same time, because what you don't want to do is that to drop down. And it is just about possible to pick this. At the end, I've got some comments about the picking of it this way. And you might already have a few thoughts in your head about this as I go, but let me pick it first and we'll discuss it a little later. So we're in the vise, and let's have a look at the key. We can see what might be going on inside. So we have these cuts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And it looks like you have 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm guessing up to 5 different cuts on the key, but these cuts are the same width from left to right, right to left, and just moved around the center point of the key, and that's because you're shifting the wafers up and down in the keyway with this. Now what I like to do is go in and just well, if I turn this a little bit, you might be able to see the wafer pack a bit better, and go in just make sure that we're at the bottom or at the top. You can push the wafers up or down. They should stay in place. You've got a spring at the back of the lever pack, the wafer pack, which is like a little curve, and it's pushing against them, so they shouldn't fall down in this position. You could turn the lock on its side to make sure they move right to left rather than up and down. That would be probably easier. Now, the tolerances in this aren't as good as the padlock version, so we might get lucky on this. You need to push this up. That's it, the first wafer. That's it, and keep some tension on. And because we're pushing up on a wafer which is a max lift, it happens to be the first one. And technically, I guess you could go along the wafer pack, lift one, see if anything's binding. If it doesn't, reset it, go to the next one, next one, next one, and hope that there is a max lift cut somewhere in the pack which will allow the other wafers to bind. And we're going to go in, and we're going to just go in here and just lift by turning the pick a little bit and just test everything's good. Okay, anything on 4, 5, 6. It's very subtle. Feels good on. So 1 we're trying to tension off. 2 feels good. 3 feels good. 4 feels alright. 5 feels alright. Let's go to 6 now. Okay, lift 6 up a little bit. Good. Is it feeling okay now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It might feel okay. I don't want to lift anything more than it needs to. But it isn't opening. But that seems to be how this lock works. I don't know why. So if we're lucky, we might be able to move this first disc back a bit, and maybe this front spinner, and see if I can't find a position where it works nicely. I don't know if it makes a difference, but it should pop open if we get the open. Oh, we got the open. Now, that is weird, and I don't know whether it's because I didn't pick it properly, or because this is every time I've picked it's been like that. I sort of get it to the point where the wafers feel like they're in a neutral position. So when they bind, you pick them and they sort of go a little loose. But then it doesn't seem to open. So I don't know whether it's because the wafers might be slightly rubbing against each other even though the space is there, or whether the spring pressure at the back is somehow affecting the way that they move. And I don't know, but I have found that the only way to sort of get that open is to mess around with the exact positioning of the front spinner plate and that first disc that I'm tensioning off, which makes me wonder whether that really is a legitimate pick or not. I'm not really sure. I've picked it as it is, so I don't want to mess around with the wafers. I haven't had time to explore moving moving the wafers around or trying to tension off the back. More because I have picked some AVAs before, and this is just a different version. And I wanted to show you how sometimes you can find a way of picking a lock and it opens it and you're definitely picking it, but is that a repeatable picking process, or did I just pick this lock because I just happen to have a key with a 0 lift at the front? It's like I said, it's technically possible to go to the back, I think, on this lock and find the last disc, which is here. That's it, and tension off that too. But I think that's going to be a lot harder to do because you're trying to make sure that the wafers don't hit, sorry if I keep calling them discs, the tensioning tool, which is just a bar of metal that's going straight through the center of the lock. So I think it's possible. I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to call this a semi-legitimate pick. I'm not going to be all out and say this is a full-on pick. I open the lock, I pick the lock. Is it a good, legitimate open? I'm not convinced, and you probably shouldn't be either. But let's have a look on the inside and see what's going on. Look at that spike, by the way. That's like really annoying. So I'm just going to lock that back up. I think I need to turn it, don't I? There we go. And we shall open this up and we'll see what's going on the inside. But no, I'm not going to pretend that this is a 100% legitimate pick, because I think the bitting on this just allowed me to find a tool which works on the first disc. I'm not saying I couldn't do it on the last disc, but it's probably going to be a whole lot harder to do. And like I said, I've already picked some AVAs before, and I know what a pain they can be, so I'm not in any rush to try the harder way of doing it. So yeah, let me just grab this tool. I think that's the wrong tool. It's this one I need. Why have I got the wrong tool? It's this one. That's going to go in and open up the... Oh no, it's the right tool. I am being an idiot. Not uncommon. What we can do is just grab these two things, squeeze tight, and lift this out. And then this bit comes out, just a tail piece. That's the bit which goes in and out and locks into a hole on the window frame itself. And then we've got a little latch thing, and this is what allows this to drop in and out under the spring pressure. When that withdraws in, when you turn, there's a little cam at the back. So as that cam turns, this will slide in, allowing that to pop out and allow this tailpiece to retract in. Anyway, we can drop that out on its little spring, and then we can see what's going on the inside. So that's just the body. We don't need to worry about that so much. So let me just see if that's turning. It shouldn't turn. If you look in here, we've got these little tail pieces. You might be able to see at the bottom here sticking out. Maybe at the top is a bit deep. If I pull this bit out, you'll see that these little wafers, and they are wafers, not discs. Oh, that's just the spinner plate on the bottom. They are free floating, but they are also sprung. Can you see that spring? And what you're doing, and how I pick this, is because what you can do is you can essentially go up and down on this pack, and if they're binding by basically what you need to do is you need to lift one of these so that it's, this one here, you might see the little scratches on there. I'm basically lifting this to its max position. That is then turning this little turning piece there. That then means that that will turn all the little wafers into the side of this lock. So put that in and turn it. You need a way of turning it, and to find, and basically the only way to really do it is find a max lift wafer, which can be lifted to its maximum position. And what I was doing was this, I think, like that. Can you see that position? So I was able to basically just lift this. Oh wow, you can see the scratches on the little spacer there that I was digging into. But essentially what you're doing is you're getting that there to then pushing up, and that's how I was tensioning it. You might be able to do it into the center somehow, maybe like that, I don't know. That might be a way of doing it. But yeah, that I think I was just doing like that position there, and that's allowing me to tension the lock. And then you don't have very many degrees of freedom, so as you're turning this up and down, you can see that some of these can be lifted quite far and some of them not so far, and you just need to basically, they'll be binding against the side. You need to push them up and down until you feel that go sort of, hard to describe, loose, I think it's the right word. But you can see that these are different cuts. So I'm just going to put the spacers up here and put these little wafers down here, and you'll see how this works. And I'll show you these. They actually have numbers on, which shows you the cut, which is really cool. And at the back is this little spring, like, which should come out, I think. And you'll see that there's nothing to grip onto at the back, so you can't put a tool in to the the back and grip onto anything. The other way, I thought, is there is a little bit of space between the back wafer because of the spring, and maybe you could get a tool which could go up and directly push on the outside of this if it's thin enough. I didn't have time to make a tool that did that, but again, it's a thought. If you have one of these, you might be able to do something about it. So that's how these work. And if I put the key in to that position, that way up, I think, can you see how that cut there interacts. So as I turn this, get it onto the right cut, you'll see that basically the key pushes that wafer up to the right position. And if I turn it that way, it drops down, and turn it this way, it locks in to the correct position and height. So that's what's actually happening. This shape is allowing the key cuts to move it to the right position. If I put it onto the wrong one, or swap a wafer out, you might be able to see how that would work, how that would have a massive effect. So this would sit like that. I put the key in, and you'll see that that last cut now overlifts it. Come here. Come here. There, overlifts that wafer really high out on that cut. So yeah, if it wasn't for that spring, these would just keep dropping down or up into the keyway and be a real pain. Like this one, for example, just hang down the bottom. If it wasn't for that spring at the back, then there'd be some real problems. What you could do, as I said earlier, is turn the lock so the whole thing's on its side, and that means that these would never have that problem. They would be picked to whatever positions stay there. That's how you pick normal Chubb AVAs with the decoder pick. You have the locks on the side, but this one is sprung and does allow you to sort of pick it. Because this is also I think the last one is a max lift, or just, you could probably go in here and, like I said, tension this one down the center of the keyway like that. If I can demo that, and lift that up and keep it tensioned from the back. I'm just worried that you would get off, struggle to pick some bittings if that was the case. That's why I'm saying I don't know if this is a truly legitimate way of doing it. I think it's entirely bitting dependent, and I'm not ashamed to admit that, because it's, again, a learning opportunity. I've picked other AVAs in different methods on my channel, so I thought this would be a good opportunity to show a way that I could open this one, just maybe not in a way which I'm 100% convinced is repeatable at different positions, or at least would be easy to do. So let's have a quick look at these wafers. We've got a 1.5, we've got a 3.3, what else do we have here? A 5.1, and these are reversible, you can flip them. So that and that are the same, just reverse. So if I turn it upside down, you'll see. There you go. So the wafers, so this one is the same upside down, it's a 3.3. The 5.1 is the same, so that's, there we go. What else do we have here? A 2.4, another 5.1, and another 4.2. So how many would that be? 1.5, 5.1, 3.3, 4.2, 2.4. So it is 5 different potential positions that it could be. So there you go. Legitimate pick or not, you decide, you tell me, but I certainly enjoyed making this video because it's just a little bit different, a little bit more interesting, exploring a lock, explaining what I'm doing, what the pros of what I'm doing are, what the cons are, whether I think you could theoretically use a little tool like this, how it might be better to find a tool which can go between the spring and the last wafer. That might be a good way of doing it if I had time, or a 2-in-1 pick. But yeah, hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, leave a like, any comments. Really interested to know your comments on this lock, how, if you've picked one, I'd really love to know. Let me know. I do read all the comments, reply to as many as I can. Drop this video a like if you like it. If you haven't subscribed, now's a great time to do so. And of course, I'll see you all next time.